Welcome to the Family Business Podcast, a podcast about football and life from the perspective of a coach and his daughter. I'm Stephanie Turner, and I'm here with my dad, Norv. Today, joining us on the show is a former NFL running back. He played for the Chargers, the Saints, and the Eagles. He's one of my all-time favorite players to watch and just an all-around great guy, Darren Sproles.
Thanks for having me on, y'all.
Thanks for coming on, Sprolesy.
Great to see you, Darren. Been a while.
You too.
So thanks so much for joining us. And, you're definitely one of my all-time favorite. I would say probably one of my dad's, he'd say the same, players, and just to watch, to be around people. And just to kind of start it off, I think, when I think of you and just the time, my dad coached you, and we'll go into like the sort of first meeting and that sort of origin story. But you've just always been such a big inspiration to me as a person, as a player, and thinking about, throughout your career and early career, being told you couldn't do something, being told, oh, you're not big enough to play this position. You're not big enough to play at this level, and just kind of constantly proving people wrong. And I love that about you and your story. And I think we should just kick it off and talk about the first time you guys met, which was not when you were coaching him in the NFL, but it was when you were coaching him for the Senior Bowl.
Well, yeah, every year they pick two NFL teams to go, coaching staffs to go coach the Senior Bowl, and usually it's teams that haven't had a great season, and then if they don't want to do it, they move to another team. But I was the coach of the Raiders, and we were selected to do it, and we had to wait to make sure Al Davis wanted to do it because the other team that was going to coach it was Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and obviously, Al had a history with John Gruden and had traded him and was very sensitive about it. And he goes, well, if you guys go down there, what happens if they beat you guys? What happens if they beat you bad? I said, well, maybe we'll go down there and win. Let's not assume the teams are equal. Let's not assume that we're just automatically going to go down and get out coached. So we went to end up coaching the game, and we had a real good team. And it happened so fast. I don't know, you remember meeting a certain player. I think Vincent Jackson was on that team.
He was.
He was, and he was a big, raw receiver that you knew was going to be special. But when I absolutely knew, Darren, we had third and about 4 from about the 22-yard line, 24-yard line, I don't know. The good news is when it's that long ago, no one's going to check and see where it was. But we handed off a dive to you because we weren't protecting very well. And I've never seen anyone cover the ground you cover as fast as you did. You hit the seam, and there's no one there, and you just went at an angle, and bang, you're in the end zone. And I'm going, that's the fastest 24-yard run I've ever seen. I've seen a few fast ones. I've been around some backs. So skip forward, and we did win the game, and Al was happy and everything, but moved forward about 3 or 4 months, and we're in draft meetings. And we're talking about backs, and Al was very involved in the draft, and he had his guys that he liked, but you could sell them on guys. And he says to me, Coach, he says, would you draft Darren Sproles? I said, yes, sir. And he says, no back his size has ever been a big success in the league. I said, well, you're worried about the wrong thing. This guy is not small. He's short. He's the most powerful guy, 190 pounds, whatever, and high energy. He's everything that you would like, that Al would have liked. But I don't think he was buying it because obviously the Chargers took you before we could get anywhere near it. But the bonus of it was a year from then, a year later, I became the Charger coach and got a chance to coach you. So things worked out.
Yeah, it actually worked out. It worked out perfectly. But the crazy thing is so like the Raiders had a Raider scout. Like he had told me from the moment that he had seen me, he was like, "Hey, like I don't want you to like really be concerned about where you get drafted because like you're going to play like for a long time in the league." But that always kind of like stuck with me. Then I ended up playing 15 years. So he was right about something.
Well, he knew what he was talking about, but the problem is Al probably never asked him what he thought of you. You know, he had his guys he was going to go for, and that was about it.
That's really interesting because I think just like in life, no matter what you're doing, like I think of me different times in my career, whatever, you know, facing those moments of like, am I going to get this job? Or am I, like in your situation, am I going to get drafted or where am I going to get drafted? And those sort of words of encouragement from somebody who knows, like a scout, like that scout saying, hey, don't worry about this. Like you're going to be good. How much did things like that impact the way you felt about sort of those early days in your career of like wondering, you know, am I gonna make it? How much did you like rely and go back to things like that?
Like it was on the regular, but I always knew, like for me being undersized, that I had to be special at something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something I had to be like special at for me to stay around like longer. So, so like whenever Norv came to San Diego, he had pulled me in the office. Do you remember this?
I
pulled me in the office.
To the day, every word.
He pulled me in the office. He had told me, he's like, hey, during this whole spring and mini camps and training camps, don't you drop a punt. Don't you drop a punt, a kickoff, or a pass. Because they're looking for a reason like to cut you. Then when he told me that, I was out there, I'm talking about every single day, I caught about 100 punts every single day, like from the jug machine. But I actually needed that. Like, I actually needed like a coach to be on my side and actually like give me a chance.
Well, the biggest thing is, unfortunately, you know, people make up their mind too soon, and a lot of people, you know, want to pick the team in April or May. And I used to say, why are we wasting time going to training camp if we already know the team? Let's go to training camp. Every year in training camp, there's guys that surprise you, and they go out and they've been working and it comes together, and there's guys on the other end of it that disappoint you. So let's go to camp and let's make everyone work for it and earn whatever they get. And the comments were made to me, you were coming off the ankle injury. And in your rookie year, you know, you had the injury went on IR, but the comment
was it your rookie year or
in his rookie year? It was your rookie year you got
that was
hurt,
your
right?
Yeah.
So the comment was made to me, you know, we think he can be a good punt returner, but he hasn't been very good catching the ball. And obviously that message was relayed to you. And I'd look out the window because my office looked out on the field. And it was about 4:30 in the afternoon every day. There'd be the equipment guy would be coming out with the jugs machine. You'd be on the other end, he'd be shooting balls till you catch it. And it wasn't like you were catching them and setting it down. You catch it and run about 20 yards and then go back and run about 20 yards like you were known to do. And it was obvious to to me, and I did point it out to a few people, but it was very, very, very obvious that this was something that was really important to you, and you were going to make the most of it. And it wasn't an easy situation. We had LaDainian Tomlinson, we had Michael Turner. I believe that was the year Hester and Tolbert came in as young players. So it was a stacked group in the backfield. But you found your place real fast. You found your place, and there wasn't any doubt. And everyone loved you for it. I mean, the guys obviously you were a guy that players just like to be around, and you're fun to be around. So it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember that story too, of just hearing that there was this conversation and that, is he going to be someone we keep on the team? And then I remember when you returned that kick for a touchdown, and we were like, let's go. This is it. We were
so when all that was happening, like during that camp, we had went to St. Louis for a preseason game.
We sure did.
And then that's when I actually returned the punt. And then I feel like that moment, whatever, got me on the team.
Yeah. Well, you were going to be on the team. If it was up to me and Stephanie, you were going to be on the team, and Drew and Scott, you were going to be on the team. We were going to fight for that. We fought a bunch of fights on that and won them for a long time. But you obviously earned a spot and always deserved the spot. And we'll talk about that first year, and then we'll get into some other things. But the game that really changed our offense that year, and we know because there's changes and everything, and we struggled early, and I think we were 1-3 and fought back to be 5-5, and we know the story. We beat Baltimore, and it kind of got us going. But we played Detroit, and we wore them out in the first half, and one of the things I think had happened in the past that LaDainian, there was times he didn't need to stay in the game and get that another 60 yards and the 2 more touchdowns. We were doing everything we could to keep him healthy, for the playoffs. And you took over the second half of the Detroit game, and we kept running power because I know you're a power guy.
Yeah.
Remember, and we just kept changing the formation and run power. And I think you went over 100 yards, or you were close to it. But what it opened up in my eyes, obviously you're one of the greatest screen runners that I've ever been around. But it opened up my eyes. There were things we needed to do to use you and get you in it. And it was really a blessing, because when we played Indianapolis in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that in a little while, LT got hurt, and you stepped in, and Michael Turner, and then you went crazy on the screens and up and down the field, and that was a big part of our ability to win that game.
Yeah.
See, you actually when we really started rolling, you was using everybody to their strengths, and the way you was able to do that, we had weapons. Like we had a lot of weapons, and we only had one football. But for you, to be able to get everybody the ball, but that speaks a lot about your play calling and your knowledge.
Well, I think it's a system that allows you to do that, but then you have to evaluate and look at it. And I was lucky because I was around guys who taught me how to do that. And I remember when I first time I got to be a coordinator, I went to Dallas. They asked me, "What are you going to do? You got Emmett. I say there's five. You get 5 eligible receivers. Every time you snap the ball, you got 5 eligible receivers, and we want all 5 of them to contribute to this game. And then obviously you bring guys in who aren't starters, but there's a lot of years I had 5 guys. I have over 50 catches, and that's spreading the ball around when you consider, along with that, you had a guy rushing for 1,500 yards most of the time, whether it was Emmett or LT or Frank Gore or some of the guys we got to coach,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are my favorite things about watching my dad's offenses over the years is just the number of people we got to like cheer for and get behind. And it wasn't always Emmett or LT, it wasn't always like the one guy that everybody knew on the team. It was the offensive players, like, when in those offenses, and it was all the different receivers, and just knowing, like you said, Sproles, like knowing that they all had something to offer, and like whose turn was it going to be on this one?
Right.
Like who was going to get it on this one, which was so fun to watch.
The one I got a call or a text from Mike Martz. He worked for me. I hired him in Washington. He worked for me for 2 years before he went to the St. Louis to be the coordinator. And someone had caught the bullet running down the sideline, halfback coming out of the backfield, bullet. And he texts me and he goes, "Hey, Norv, I'm watching this game. All these guys think that they invented that. I remember the day you came in and said, hey, listen, everyone's running this guy on the flat, but they can't, I don't think they can cover down the sideline. So we ran crossing receivers, tight end over the ball, and we ran what we called a bullet. And we did a little bit in Washington with Brian, but we got it in San Diego. And Philip was so good at it, and you had such a good understanding. If they went over the top, look quick. If they come underneath, take the bullet. And the one I remember, the first one I remember, I'm sure we ran it before that, but in that Baltimore game I was talking about, they ran a zero blitz, and they had to drop the end to cover you down the boundary. And then once you got it, he couldn't cover you. And once you got it, like you're patented in and out of curving, cutting back, running. And it was like a 70-yard touchdown, and you just kept, and it was pretty amazing.
Because the end was supposed to like cover me, but he just tried to just bang me kind of, but then he didn't let me go. And it wide open.
It happened the other night in the Bear game. They dropped the end into coverage, and the back was running a bullet. And, those blitzes, those pressures draw up nice. But if you end up with a back on a defensive end, they got problems.
It's bad. Yeah,
they better get there,
right,
and hit the quarterback, because it's not gonna get covered. But you made that famous, honestly, with the one you caught at Kansas City, where they turned you loose and there's corner and safety chasing you. It looks like TV cartoon running in and out of them and everything. Speaking of, I hope you still have it. We did put Steffi and Drew got me to bring that Mighty Mouse.
Hey, but you know what? We still got it too. But it's in storage though right now.
Okay.
But I still have it. Yep. I still got it.
Well, you guys always had a close relationship when on the Chargers and when you were together. And I think obviously, there was a person, like, you liked each other as people, and then obviously had a mutual respect for each other on the football side of things. And we were just fighting so hard for you to stay at the Chargers when my dad was still coaching there. And I remember you came to the house and with your beautiful wife and baby girl, and we were like, you have to stay, please stay. And it wasn't, I think you wanted to stay, and it just,
I did.
But we got through it the first year because it was a contract problem and all the different things, and they didn't want to extend you for a long term, so they ended up franchising you. And then the next year, we just couldn't win the fight, and I was trying my hardest, and we had a disappointment you know, in the 2009, we were 13-3 and didn't play well against the Jets. And then the next year we were 9-7 and lost some games where we normally wouldn't lose, where we'd turn the ball over. And, you know, sometimes you think, oh, we got to make a change. The best teams, the best personnel people, the best coaches do the best job of evaluating their own players. You evaluate your own team because the other guys, you only see them on Sundays, and sometimes they may look good, but you don't know them like we knew you. And I told them in a meeting, and I pissed a few people off, but it was there's no question, if he's not the hardest working guy on our team, he's one of the top 4 or 5. He's a great leader. We have to slow him down in walkthroughs. That's a what do we call that? A violation, a tempo violation and walkthrough.
Right.
Remember, I used to run right alongside, get my feet and run. Quit doing this, Darren. We're walking through today. And then we'd say, okay, we're going to just, it's not a walkthrough anymore, but this is just 3/4. And there go Darren flying by, you know, getting the ball. And obviously, you know, if Philip was here, if the guys were here, no one could make any sense of that. And one of the guys said, well, we think he's lost a step. That's when you left to go to New Orleans. And that people don't know, that year you led the league in runs over 10 yards or more. And they said, well, yeah, but he's not making long runs. I said, hey, everyone in this league would take the guy that leads the league and runs over 10 yards. Those 10-yard run is not easy in the NFL. But they said, we think he's lost a step. So every time you'd return a punt or kickoff or make a long run or catch a ball for a long run, I would text that guy. And I'd say something different almost every time. But I said, I think he found that step you thought he lost. Or that he's doing pretty good having lost that step.
I know.
No one can catch him. You know, it was it's a shame that you didn't play your entire career, but you had a great career in New Orleans and in Philadelphia. And you just, like Steffi said at the start, you just showed people what you're capable of doing. And it was, we were so happy for you.
Yeah, I mean, we loved watching you at those teams, but my dad would call me after some big, you know, you'd break through and have some great run and score another touchdown or something. And I'd get a call like, oh, do you think he lost a step? I'm like, yeah, I don't think he did. I don't think he lost a step because we just wished you would have been with us. But
as many great plays as you had, they still put down as one of the top 10 plays in Charger history, and it's one of the most exciting plays I've been involved with. The home playoff game against Indianapolis, where the walk-off touchdown, we ran 30 ISO and tight end release because the end was there. And
but the end was, yeah.
you hit it, and the best thing, there are so many people that had their phones out and videoed that from the end zone. So all you saw, you just kept seeing on whatever Instagram or whatever they were using back then, people posting it, and you're running and everyone stands up and they can't see you, and then cheering, and the place went wild. It's one of the exciting plays I've been involved with.
yeah.
But you know what? Like every time I see that game, I always remember like we could have won that game like earlier, whatever. I had a chip screen like on a 20. Then I went to reach over the goal line and I fumbled it, and it was a touchback. So that's what I always remember from that game.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I yell at these guys on TV. It's like a virus right now.
I know.
It's happened 2 weeks in a row. It happened to Indianapolis, then it happened to Arizona. Guys, you know, I've coached I hired both those guys, the coaches on those teams, and you think, how could you let that happen? So I guess it happened to a guy I was coaching too once.
but then, like after that happened, I just remember Philip was like, just make up for it. That's what he said. And then we went into overtime, and then that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made up for it. But that's crazy though, that's when you think of that game, like that's the first thought you have. And
I know. I'm still sick about that still.
I know. Why do we do that to ourselves? We
Right.
think of the negative thing instead of being like, yeah, but I did this and then we won.
Right.
Well, it's funny, the other Indianapolis game where we beat them in the playoffs before we went to play New England in New England, but with half our team hurt. But Philip got banged up, and we were moving the ball and making big plays and everything. But then we ran the screen. I don't know which one we ran first, but we ran the Act 5. I know we ran the Act 5 hot. And you took the ball and went down the sideline, 50, whatever it was. But you had two big touchdowns on screens, didn't you? One was a big play. So when we lost to New England, the team that lost the championship game coached the Pro Bowl. And we actually went over, back then the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl. So we went to Hawaii the day before the Super Bowl, and we're watching the Super Bowl in Hawaii. They had a big room and everything, and all the players that were not in the Super Bowl were already over there. So I said, I'm going to, not like me, but I said, I'm going to go get on the treadmill for a little while, just to, so I get on it, and I wasn't going to be on it very long. So about 5 minutes after I'm on it, someone starts talking to me, and I look over, and it's Peyton Manning, and I'm going, oh, wow. He turns to me, hey, Norv, how you doing? I'm good. Looking forward to the week and all that. He goes, I got one question for you. I said, what's that? He goes, are we going to run any of those screens that you guys ran against us last week? I said, yeah, we'll put a couple of them in. But the thing that people don't know about screens, and I say this, I've been around some guys who are pretty good at it. You're the best. Christian McCaffrey is awfully good at it. Brian Mitchell was good. But the whole key is a guy who has the quickness to outrun the inside pursuers. And that's usually a defensive lineman or a linebacker who's rushed. And they're coming laterally, and you've got to get up the field. But how many times you see that the guy with the screen got everything opened up in front of him, and one of those defensive linemen grabs his leg, gets his ankles, gets his knees. And that's, I can just close my eyes and see you just outrunning that guy by half a step, because they rush and then they change, and you got to wait for the ball, and you're stopped, and you got to start.
Those feet would just speed up.
And
it was like all of a sudden they would just speed up and get past the guy.
And then when I was in Carolina with Christian, so I told him, these little passes, the short passes, it's how quick you can get started and get up the field. And he was, like I said, he's an outstanding screen runner, but it's not something we coach. I mean, you coach, hey, put your foot in the ground and go, but it's that talent. And that's why some guys are great screen runners and some guys are just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The thing about screens too, you also gotta have a little acting to you too, Steph. You gotta be able to sell it.
Oh yeah.
At the right time.
Well, that's what
like in what way? Like you have to
like with the linebacker and stuff like that. Like you gotta be able to kind of make it seem like it ain't no screen or something like that. But then because you gotta set the blocks up like for your linemen to get out in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah, no question. And that's why we called it the chip screen, where everyone now has the backs chip the defensive end or help, And we actually called it a chip screen because we wanted you to get your hands on them, but not get grabbed and not get up in there. And then you had to separate, and give the quarterback a throwing angle. And a lot of guys get so anxious and they want to get out there. And if you get out there too fast, you bring everyone with you, and the guard doesn't have time to get on a linebacker that's closing in on the play.
Yeah. That was actually my favorite screen too. That was my favorite.
Oh, yeah. And the other ones that people still think were screens, but we called it half a swing. We called it an M route.
M route, yeah.
Just help, chip, and then just get out there. And the beauty of Phillip, and it's important, he would throw that because I've coached a bunch of quarterbacks, and I say, you're trying to throw the ball into about 3 DBs covering this receiver or a linebacker or a safety in a corner, and you got the back sitting there who's going to run for 10 before anyone even sees them. Just every once in a while, feel it. You feel everyone sink, and then throw the ball on the swing or the M route because you could get running right down the numbers. But I remember we're in Denver, and you took one about 70, you just shortest pass I ever seen go for 70 yards. You just flipped it to you, and you were gone.
Yeah, that was it was up there too, right? I think that was
the Ed Hockley game where
Yep.
At the end of the game, we're all celebrating. They said, well, not so fast. It wasn't a fumble. It was an incomplete. And then on Tuesday, I get the letter that says, that should have been a fumble and the game should have been over. Yeah, well, thanks. That doesn't help you.
Right.
How was retirement for you? Like, how was that? I mean, I know it's been a few years now, but like how to go from being in it in the way that you were for so long and having football be like such a big part of your life. Like how were the first few years of sort of getting out of that?
Well, you know what? I was actually happy to be done.
Really?
Because I played long enough. My body really wasn't feeling like the greatest either. After I retired, so me and my wife, we started a track team. And then like for me, like coaching, like the girls and stuff like that, like that just brought just more like joy to me. And I really feel like that, like us doing that kind of helped me kind of like get away from the football like a little bit. Mm-hmm. But like now though, I'm kind of getting like the coaching like bug kind of a little bit. I think I want to start like coaching like high school or something like that, like first, just to really see like if I really want to do it or not. But I enjoyed the track too, though.
Yeah. And the thing about coaching, whether you're in high school, college, NFL, you're doing the same things, and the coaching at the high school level is so impactful because they're young guys who, they see you and you start talking to the backs about how you're supposed to do these things. It would have a great impact on the young guys. It'd be something special. And I know, Steffi's going to ask you, I know you're coaching your girls and I know they're track stars. So
yeah,
we can talk about that a little bit. Because
you're still coaching them, right? Are you coaching the track team?
Yeah. So so Devin's she's a sophomore now. So she actually aged out already.
Okay.
So, but my youngest, this is her last year of youth. And I'm still coaching her. She actually, so last summer she got first in Junior Olympics in 100 and the 4x4. So,
wow.
So she's actually special, man. She's special. She is the littlest thing out there, but be moving.
So I know where the Mighty Mouse little rubber Mighty Mouse replica. She has it.
You guys
Yeah, like
pass it down to her.
she doesn't like if you talk about her height, like it's just something that just fuels her. Like she want to beat everybody big. That's just that's just her like mentality.
Yeah, that's special. I wonder where she gets that.
Well, I'm a new track mom because my son just started running track and he's 6, and I'd never like been to track meets and been a part of that, and I love it. Like we totally got the track bug because he loves it. He played team sports. I mean, look, he's 6, so obviously he was little, but we signed him up for T-ball like the year before, and he didn't like the like playing another team and all the parents being like, get the ball, get it, you know, like the intensity of everything. And I think so. Then a friend of his in his class, one of his buddies, he's like, Wes is the fastest kid in class, and Wes runs track, so I want to run track so I can beat him. So I was like, okay, so let's sign you up for the track team. And he runs with his friends, and he's like, he loves it. He loves. He did run on the relay team, and he was very excited to get a gold medal because they won at the conference meet. And he like took someone's spot. Relay wasn't his thing, but he was like the next fastest person time wise. So they were like, can you take the spot? And so he was just happy. He's like, do I have to do the relay? And I was like, yeah. And then he was happy because he got a gold medal. And I was like, they're the best team. You got to run on the team.
All right.
But his favorite is the 800, which shocks me because I was like, how are you running 2 laps? I don't want to do that. And he's like, no, I like it. But he wins. So
for him, if his favorite is the 800, he need to run the 1500 just to get stronger for the 8.
For the 800. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's okay. That's a good tip. Cause I haven't signed him up for our events. You can sign up for a few things each time. And he always wants to do the 800. And then I have him try other things like the 200 or whatever. But I haven't pushed him to do the 15. So let's see. I'll make him do it.
Like, see,
that'd be good for him. That's a great tip.
Yeah. Because the thing is like for the 800, like he runs the 800 and he's never really tired, right? Yeah. Well, the 15 is that's gonna push him. Yeah, and it's gonna make his 8 like his the 15 is gonna make the 8 and the 400 like stronger. So
yeah, okay.
Well, I was at Oregon in the early 70s, and we had a guy who wasn't very big, Steve Prefontaine, who at the time was the best track star in America. He regularly ran 1,500, 5,000 meters, 800. I mean, he ran them all, and you talk about a competitor. No one. You know, he outcompeted a lot of guys, including that he had such great determination and endurance. He was an amazing runner, but he wasn't a big guy. So that's good for your daughter and for Sydney.
Yeah. See, I feel like track is the perfect like for kids, like it's getting ready for life, like to be actually like mentally strong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like track and wrestling are probably like the 2 best things that's going to get them actually mentally strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, what we liked about track was that it was competitive, but it also felt individual in some ways. I mean, you're competing with other people and you're running against other people, obviously, but it's also about your time and your personal best, and you're literally in a lane, your lane, you know?
Your lane, yeah.
So it's like, just worry about your lane. But yeah, we like it. We're looking forward to track season.
Well, this is turning into a parenting show. This isn't football. We're getting organized and getting everyone's kids in shape. We have to make special note of that when we promote this episode.
I know. But
Right.
but I love when you post videos of the girls running because on Instagram, follow them on Instagram, everyone. You can see the future Olympians.
It looks like you sped it up, to be honest with you. They're going just flying around the track.
Hey, but Norv, like, they be asking the race now, but I'd be like, I'm gonna keep my wins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're like, we don't need to race.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what about do you watch football every week? Like, are you in it? Do you follow it?
I only watch the teams that I play for. So I watch the Chargers, Saints and the Eagles, but everybody else I really don't watch.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles are going through that. Every team goes through it. It seems like during a season you have a little bit of a lull. They started hot and run the heck out of the ball, and maybe teams have caught up with that. I don't know. They have to get more balance as I look at them. But you know how that goes. All of a sudden you lose a game or two or whatever, and people start, in the building, they start having some doubts instead of understanding, hey, we've won a lot of games around here, and we know what we're doing. We've had a little bit of a setback. A couple games didn't go our way, but we know the way to win. We know the right things you have to do. And that's kind of where I see Philadelphia right now. How do you see them?
Yeah, it's like in the NFL season, like it's gonna be a time in there where like you're gonna have like some little bumps, but the thing is, like, everybody has to stick together. They can't be listening to all the noise outside and stuff like that. If they stick together and then fight through it, they'll be fine.
Well, this is a perfect time for one of my favorite stories, and I got to be careful. I won't exactly give the name, but we were getting ready. Obviously, when I came in and we won our opening game, and then we had a tough stretch. We went to New England and lost. We played Green Bay and lost. They were really good. Favre was still playing. I think we lost by 4 points there. But it was a good game. And then we came back and really didn't play very well against Kansas City and had a couple of busted coverages and just didn't do the things we wanted to do and lost. So we started 1-3, and it was, I was shouldering all the blame for you players. I wasn't letting you take the heat. They were chanting, bring back Marty, as I was walking off the field. I was shouldering it all for you guys. That's right. But we were getting ready to play on Sunday night, and we came back and won a couple of games, and we're getting ready to play Indianapolis on Sunday night. And it rained hard. You remember how it rained that night? But on Saturday, it was a Sunday night game, right? It was so Saturday afternoon. A couple people higher up in the building than me, we were just talking and going through kind of our game plans, and someone made the comment, do you think it's time to give someone else a try at the kick returns and punt returns? Because, Darren's kind of struggling. He hadn't had a lot of success. And I said, how close he is in the last 4 or 5 weeks to breaking one. I mean, it's a step here, it's a step there. It's a guy getting a block. I mean, we're on the verge. So I think it would be premature to make a change. And thank goodness again you covered for me, because was it the opening kickoff? I don't remember now. It's been so long, but I know you returned a kick for a touchdown and a punt for a touchdown, and not many guys have ever done that. But you made me.
It was the opening kickoff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You made me look smart, and that guy never asked me another question about who we're playing or why we're playing them. So that worked out good for everybody.
It did. It did.
One of the very few people to do that, right? Return in a game in NFL history to return a kickoff and a punt.
I think it was me and Dante Hall, wasn't it?
Okay.
It sounds like it. Yeah. And the one thing about returners that I really believe, we know that speed is a big part of it, but each guy I've been around who's a great returner had their own style, and you can't overcoach that. You got to coach, get to the point, the right point, where the blocking is. Back then, you could still double team some of the things you can do, but you got to let the guy be himself and be a good runner and find the lane and go get it, because it happens fast. You know better than I do, because they never asked me to return a kick all the way back to high school. But I was with Ron Brown at the Rams. Ron Brown is an Olympic gold medalist, and he returned two, one in the first half, one in the second half against Green Bay, kickoffs. It was unbelievable. And then I was with Henry Ellard, who was a punt returner, and those two guys in '86 went to the Pro Bowl as the punt returner and kickoff returner, and from the same team. It's incredible. But they each had a totally different style. Henry had his own style. Ron had his own style. Ron was a straight line. You can imagine the speed guy.
Right.
But it's. I think people can overcoach that position. You do have to, let guys go, and occasionally you're not going to make the best cut. Occasionally you're going to miss the hole. But if you trust it and you get a lot of reps, and you do a good job blocking it, then there's great opportunities.
So I was more of a stretch like one cut type of returner, but like I used to always use but like my kickoff return and my punt return just to get in the flow of the game, because most of the time I was coming in like third down, like, you know what I'm saying? So
it was like your warm up. You would just do a quick warm up and return a kickoff for a touchdown, and then get into the game from there. All right, let's get this game started.
And sometimes returners they're not the best. They're not loved the best. We were in Dallas, and when Troy was on the sideline, we're in one of those deals where you're on the verge. It's like 28-3 or something, and with Troy, we'd get him out and let someone else play the fourth quarter, and guys, everyone likes their stats, and so we told Troy, okay, one more series. You get one more series. They're punting to us. There's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And Kelvin Martin, who was really a good punt returner. I mean, He was really good. But he would go one cut and go straight down the middle. And he was about 170 pounds. But he was fearless. So they punt it deep and long and high, and he gets that ball. And he returns it right down the middle for a touchdown. And they say, Troy, you're done. And he goes, God damn it. He goes, why do you have to return it? I want to play. He's pissed off at Kelvin for returning the ball for a touchdown. He wanted to stay in the game. That's some of the crazy stuff, as we know, that happens on the sideline. Guys, sometimes guys just go a little crazy. They get thinking different thoughts, but we had a great guys. We didn't have too many issues.
What was the joke? You guys had a joke, or you said in a meeting once that Darren lives in the room downstairs in our house, and someone believed you
that I had a room. That I had a room downstairs, but then but Norv he got in front of the team like, Sproles, when you leave the room, you make sure you turn that damn light out. but so Goody, you remember Goody, right?
Yeah.
So Goody like always thought that I really had a room over there.
But he was like, but wait, though, do you really stay there? Like, wait,
Right.
we had some characters that I think you could convince anything, but Steffi, I'm glad you brought that. I forgot because the guys, they knew Darren was one of my all-time favorites, so I would occasionally, and that's what I said one day. I said, hey, before we get started, and it's the whole team, before we get started, Darren, Nancy called and said you left the light on again downstairs. Could you turn off the light before you leave the house? And guys are looking around like,
what?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
But yeah, they was but Goody really he really thought.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. One of the things that we haven't talked about, and we're bouncing around pretty good here, but it's good. Gates going into the Hall of Fame is so deserving, and I could make a really strong case for you. We talked about you being 6th all time in total yards and punt return, kick return, yards from scrimmage, total yards. I coached another guy that's a little bit ahead of you, Brian Mitchell, who was a different style than you, but so protective, so productive. But the thing that people don't appreciate, we would line you or the halfback, and sometimes it was LT. He was a great receiver and caught a lot of balls. You were able to give him some rest, but we would line you up behind Gates. So you got Darren Sproles or LT, and you got Gates, and then we put the 2 receivers on the other side, and we could do it out of an empty set, gone protection, or we could do it out of a base formation. And they can't double both of you. I mean, particularly with the receivers on the other side, that means they'd have to single Malcolm, Vincent, whoever's over there. But that's one of the concepts that's still there, and I don't see people doing it as much because everyone's enamored with throwing bubble screens and little circle routes to the. I saw Michael Irvin go on a rant. He was on a rant.
I seen that.
He said, I never caught one ball behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
We know what's going on now. Everybody, I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you throw the ball 10 yards. I could complete a couple of those. But you get in that position, and obviously you want to double the tight end. The back's going to be single. You want to double the back, then you're going to leave Gates singled. And it's a simple concept. And all the way back with Ernie Zampese, the Chargers, they always had Winslow and they always had a back behind them, or they had another tight end behind them. And it's a 2-man game, a little bit like basketball, but they can't double both guys. If they play zone, it's pretty much a gimme completion if they play zone, because they're taught to find a hole, hook up. Obviously, what Antonio was so good at, getting over the ball and reading man or zone. And if they played man, they were dead. And if it's zone, it was high percentage. And Philip was back there. He was ready to turn that ball loose to you guys. But I think it's something that's a little bit lost in the NFL right now, and there's great opportunities for it.
Somebody better listen to this and get some tips.
Yeah, really. Get some tips, right? But I remember
you have to commit to it, and then you build in a couple base routes on the other side, and you can do the free release, tight end, back routes, and then you can do a protection where the back is protecting before he leaves, and throw your individual routes to the slot side. So it's a good way to attack it. And most of the time the ball comes out pretty quick. You want to get the ball out of your hand. There's a shortage of offensive linemen in the league, and there really are some good pass rushers right now.
There it is. Yep. But I remember like with that formation, like with the Chiefs used to put two people like pressed on Gates, and then they used to put the safety like in back, whatever. And then all I can remember, but Philip But Philip, he'd always say, Philip was always say, Sproles, but make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready, because he already seen like what they were trying to do to Gates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
there's no question. That's the thing. That's the thing you do, and if you want the ball, you get ready, because it was coming out of his hand. You know, we had a guy. I'm going way back. His name was Buford McGee, and he was from Old Miss, but he was with the Chargers, and we traded for him when Ernie Zampese came, and he would always go woo 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 woo. He'd be running a snake or a M or and if no one covered him, a little swing pass, you could hear him. You could hear him on the side. Woo, 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 woo. And Jim Everett was the quarterback. He'd just turn and throw it to him. You know, he goes, "Don't do that if you're covered now."
Right.
No, I'm good.
Right.
Call for the ball. That's funny. All right. Well, we're gonna let you go here in a minute, but before we let you go, we want to ask. We ask everybody at the end of our show, if you didn't play football, what would you have done? And you can't say another sport. You can't say I would have played something else. Like, what would you have done as a career if you weren't in football?
If I wasn't in football, I feel like I would have been a coach. I can't say that.
That's
I mean, that's what everybody's. Yeah.
Yeah.
A football coach, a track coach.
The track coach, football coach. I would have been some type of coach, I feel like.
Okay. I guess that's allowed.
Stephanie and I were talking before we started, and we've alluded to it, but I think I'm going to address it directly. One of the things this segment is, and we've talked about different things with other guys, but it's definitely don't let someone tell you what you can or can't do. Trust who you are, trust the things you believe in. Obviously, if you're gifted and have the kind of ability you have, then make the most of it, and that's what you did. And the best example we talked about at the start, when someone told you, you got to do a better job catching punts. They don't think you can catch them. Next thing you know, every day I'd look out there. It'd be Friday at 4:00. I go, this guy needs to go home. I mean, what's he doing? I'm going home. What's he doing?
But you'd be out there catching punts.
Yeah, but people don't understand though. I hated catching punts, though. I hated it. But then I knew that was the only way I was going to get a shot at running back. So like with the punt return, I just had to just go practice it. And just keep on catching them. And then it just came to be like natural. And then I actually loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like, you saw your opportunity, your way in. Like that was the way that you could become really good at something to get you into the thing that you wanted to do.
Into that.
Yeah.
But then when I started getting a shot at running back, then like the next like little thing was like, I don't know if on third down, like he can block. So I had to find a way to block these big old linebackers, you know what I'm saying? But like people always thought that kind of like I was cutting, but I really wasn't cutting. I was just getting lower than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was just my little thing that I did.
You learn how to do it. And the one thing that because we had Gates who could be in the slot receiver, and we'd bring Brandon. I'm not going to try to say his last name.
Monomalu.
We'd bring him back into the backfield, if you remember, and that gave you a free release. So the guy, if they were going to try to keep you in by blocking, they had to deal with Brandon. because he'd come
Right.
back in the backfield, and it was F key. You remember the protection, and
Yep.
it gave you a free release. So that was something that really helped us, and we actually we played.
Didn't we call
Tampa
that something else?
When I was in
What else did we call
Carolina.
that?
What?
We called that something else. What do we call that? Bronco or Mustang or
Well, we
something?
had Mustang, yeah, but you
Yeah,
had
we
to
had
block
Mustang.
in Mustang. The F key let you out, but we were playing. When I was in Carolina, we were playing Tampa, who's the all-time blitz team, and we used that protection. We had a big tight end, a little bit like Brandon, and he came back in, and they were going to blitz to Christian's side, and they turned him loose completely, and he caught it. And then once he got in the secondary, it was like you. They weren't going to tackle him. It was about a 40-yard touchdown. But that, when a team is going to blitz the back, you just have to find ways to get him out. So he's not always protecting. And I see some of these teams that turn the center away from the back always, and then the back is on a 250-pound linebacker. It's not going to work, and you can find ways to turn the line to the backer and let the back have the free release. It's not that hard to do, and you need to do it some of the time. And that was one of the ways we got you and LT. We got you out of the backfield and running a free release route.
Yeah. Do you miss the coach? You miss being out there on Sundays?
This is one of the best things we could have done. Steph and I have talked about it. She twisted my arm, got me in a headlock, whatever. And this has been fun. We did Troy Aikman early. We've done Jason. This is fun doing this with you. And it gets a football fix. My son Scott's, he's fighting through it now with the Jets, but I get enough football that I don't need the problem with it
he
is
has his guys. He's still, he has all the guys that call him that are still coaching, and Scott is coaching, obviously. And so he's in it. He gets to throw in his 2 cents. How about this? What about that? And
the one thing about it is you go out there to watch practice, and when you're not coaching, those 2-hour practices, it feels like you're on the field for 6 hours. My feet hurt, my legs hurt.
Back
when
hurt.
When you're coaching, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
A couple of our linemen would tell me we're out here too long. They come on, Norv, Dillman. Come on, Norv. We're done with this. Let's go.
Nick. Hey, did Nick too?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for doing this with us. It was good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. Good to see y'all. Norv, I'm gonna come out to San Diego. We're gonna go on that golf course.
Yep, let's do it.
One of your free days.
When are you coming?
Whenever you want me to come.
Okay. Well, I got a little rotator cuff going now. I may not be playing till after the new year, but I'd love to get you down and play. You'd love the course. Yeah. Just don't wear those knickers.
hey, but Norv, this is probably gonna be my time.
With
where I can actually beat you now. You got a rotator cuff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll figure something out.
All right. Let me do our little sign off here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we post fun clips and giveaways, starting with a game day snack basket provided by Melissa's Produce. We'll see you on the next one.